Hi, I'm Dave, welcome to the channel and welcome to an impromptu scenery scratch build video. Now, I'm sure you're aware of this end of my track. We've been here before, done the Legends Bar and so on, and the Malden Coffee Shack. Now, recently I've had some friends round on Friday evenings racing, and as they're racing more, they're getting better. And as they're getting better, they're coming off the track in different places. And the really awkward place they're started coming off now is right over in that back corner there. Now, as you can see, it's quite difficult to marshal. It's even quite difficult to see right into the corner beyond the track there. Let me take you down. So there we are, we have a problem. What I need is a crash barrier in here somewhere. So, start as we mean to go on, I have cut a piece of plywood that is the right shape to go into that corner. And we need to focus on putting some safety fence around here. Now, it doesn't need to go all the way around because people tend to come off here and crash into the corner this way. So I only really need something round to about here, I reckon. And because it's kind of in that underpass and it's a little bit urban decay and a bit sort of gritty and grotty, I don't really want a nice shiny, safety fence or an Armco barrier. It wouldn't fit with what's underneath there. So I think what I'm going to try and do is make some of that orange safety fencing, but sort of functional, so it catches the cars, not just as a piece of pretty scenery. And in a very much like a Lee Slot Cars video, I've got some bits and pieces of random stuff and no real plan at the moment. Now, these pieces include some straw brushes. Now, these days when you get metal straws that are reusable, you can, much like you would clean a bottle, use these things. I'm not that interested in the brush, although I'm sure one day that might make a nice car wash or something. But for now, I'm just interested in this twisted wire handle, which I think is springy enough and strong enough to withstand a slot car, or at least if it bends, it should be fairly straightforward to bend it back again. So these I want to use as posts, and necessity being the mother of invention, I found this stuff on eBay or Amazon, deco mesh, which is for floral craft and things like that. But it's also not unlike orange safety fence. So what I'm going to try and do, I think it needs to be about half this height. So I think I'm going to try and double this over so it's twice as strong. And use these posts round here. And I don't know how I'm going to fix this to these yet. But that's the general idea. And I'll make the rest of it up as I go along, I guess. But first thing is to work out what I'm going to do with the fence. Now, I've marked out on here that if I have a piece of fence that goes around the front here, and let's assume it's cordoning something off. At a later date, I'll put something in here that's being cordoned off, which means I can then return this piece of fence around here, which means actually when it comes to a slot car crash, there'll be one piece of fence, and if that doesn't stop it, the second piece of fence should do. Hopefully we won't then end up having to be buried right into this corner trying to retrieve a car. So I'm going to start by drilling some holes in here, the sort of thickness that means that I can poke this piece of wire through, and then I shall cut these down and poke them through from the bottom and cut them off to the right height, and then I'll have my fence posts in and we'll work out, I'll probably super glue them into the holes or something, and then we'll go from there. So obviously you saw me drill some holes, cut off some lengths of wire and bend them over and push them through all these holes and glue them down. What you didn't see me do, because I forgot to switch the camera on, was paint all of these a kind of rusty browny colour, and using a pair of pliers I just untwisted the top twist on each one of these. I'll put a photo up so you can see. And the idea is I'm going to get this neatly folded up orange mesh and hang it onto these opened up posts and then grip them shut so it stays on. On the subject of this, I found the perfect way to get this folded, because it's plastic. It wouldn't take any heat. A heat gun melted it, a lighter melted it. It needed very, very gentle heat. So what I ended up doing, here's a sample of it, was getting a piece, folding it roughly in half, putting it in a piece of greaseproof paper like that, and then getting this domestic device, which I'm not really sure what it's for, but it does make this flat. So very gentle heat made this flat. And that was very successful indeed. So I've got a big load of this that I can now wrap around all of these to cordon this off, and I'll do with the ends as and when. Once I've hooked the tops into here, I think what I'm going to do is get the needle and thread out and just sew through around the bottoms of all of these, just to hold them all in place. And I think, because these are pretty springy but strong, I think this is going to be a functional orange safety fence. Probably more functional than real orange safety fence, in all honesty. So I shall get on with this. So here we have it all finished. I'm fairly happy with that. That has achieved the effect I want. It definitely looks like orange safety fencing. And I think it's going to be quite functional. The mesh is good and strong, especially doubled up. And these straw brush wire twisted handles, which were Mrs. Slottar's idea, are absolutely perfect. They're very springy, they're very strong, but there is a little bit of give, so it won't damage the cars. And I think this is a functional catch net. It's probably more functional at scale than the real stuff is at full size, because, you know, it just falls over most of the time, that stuff. But this looks the part, and is probably how the person who originally invented the stuff envisaged his product would be. So this will be put to the test in a couple of days' time when my friends come round and crash a lot again. I shall report back on the success or otherwise of this after the event. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch one of my videos. If you liked it, you will find a button specifically for that. Please subscribe to the channel, it's free and it really does help. And if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification the next time I post a video.